back. So let us start from the myths part, which from like we have discussed expectations earlier. Now let us discuss the myths part. So as you might have decided some time back that you want to appear for UPSC Civil Service examination. So I'm pretty sure that you have searched Google, you have done some research on YouTube also, did some have you might have also listened to few toppers talk, and there are a lot of coaching institutes who have their separate team who give you a lot of information about the examination at the initial stage. But among you can say as a part of those information or throughout the journey of the examination, you might be exposed to different myths. Why I'm saying myth? Because they don't have a logical standing on their own. They can be true for few cases. You cannot say they're completely myth, but that depends totally on the ability of individual student and their approach and their level of understanding and the kind of commitment and the motivation they have for the examination. So based on that, they few of the myths can be true for them, but ideally, I believe these are all myths, and they should not be considered very important and should not given much importance to over to overpower your thoughts while you are preparing for the examination. So the first is that this exam needs greater than 14 hours of study daily. So this is a myth. Some people don't say 14 hours, few say that you have to study 8 to 10 hours daily. So I must confess that the idea of committing certain number of hours in a day is not wrong. The idea that you have to commit more than 14 hours or 15 hours or 10 hours, 11 hours, certain number if somebody gives you, that is not correct. Because the number of hours as an individual, as a student, which you have to commit for the preparation of the examination should be decided by you based on your ability and your capacity. So you cannot simply commit 14 hours and lying on bed and not able to read a single word, but still you are just passing the time thinking I have to be 14 hours, I have to be 14 hours. It's totally waste of time. The idea is that you should be aware, you should be regular, you should be continuous. Suppose you are reading a subject like you are studying ancient Indian history and you are reading a topic of Indus Valley civilization, and it might take you 2 to 3 hours in the first go to give a first round of reading if you're not very much aware about the topic. So that 2 to 3 hours continuously is important, but it is not needed that you read whole day ancient history for 9 to 10 to 20 hours. That is wrong, because every student has their own ability, every student has their own capacity, and they can increase it obviously over time with practice. But that doesn't mean they have to commit every time same number of hours daily, because that can be exhaustive to you, that can negatively impact your study the next or upcoming days, because this is not a 100-meter race. This is more like a marathon or a sprint, we can see with marathon like thing where you have to continuously give effort, and you have to cover some, you can say 21 kilometers or 42 kilometers kind of thing. So you should not exhaust your energy or potential on a particular day. Now the next point is one is to, there are other myths also, that one is to be extraordinary to clear this examination. Nothing like that. Obviously, there in the past, if you see trends, there are people from the whose parents are from the services or they are already in government services. There are people from good, high popular colleges uh, who who get a lot of fame because they got a good rank in this examination. But that doesn't mean that they are or extraordinary, or only extraordinary people with certain particular credentials can clear this examination. The idea is that the examination has certain requirements. Whoever are able to meet those requirements, they will clear the examination. And there's nothing called extraordinary. A normal student, an average student who have never done any extraordinary achievement academically, I also consider myself an average student. I have never scored rank 1 in my class, but still I have been able to clear different stages of the examination. So one need not be extraordinary to clear this examination. Then third myth can be said that coaching is essential. This is again a myth, because obviously there is a certain number of guidance. Like I am currently giving you certain information, it can also be seen as a guidance. So certain guidance at different stages about different things are relevant and important for a new aspirant to be aware about, to actually give best attempt. Every attempt is a best attempt in this examination, but that doesn't imply that coaching is essential. If somebody is not able to get access to coaching, they should not get disheartened. Obviously, few of the effort that coaching takes simplifies your effort that you have, suppose like previous year questions analysis. Now you can do it yourself also, and it is highly suggested that you should do it yourself. But by any chance, if you are not able to commit time to analyze previous year questions, then coaching can help you. They can segregate questions topic wise. They can help you giving certain compilation, which are easy for you to access and understand than yourself taking effort and compiling your contents. So at that places coaching might be effective, but you should analyze and understand those needs during the course of a preparation, that where you actually need coaching. If you still are not able to access coaching, then do not worry. There, especially after the post COVID-19 times, there are significant number of information and YouTube videos like this video you are watching on YouTube, where which can give you a good amount of information to make you exam ready. So it's not essential. Mock tests are compulsory. So it can be again classified in the category of myth. Why? Because exactly writing mock tests is not essential, but solving previous year questions are. So previous year questions are questions which UPSC has prepared and are are have appeared in the examination before you are appearing. So they are actual questions. So those questions can actually help you understand, okay, what is the trend of the questions that UPSC is giving, what are the topics that UPSC is preferring in a particular subject, what kind of subjects are getting what kind of weightage, what is the kind of words UPSC is using in the examination paper, how many pages it is allocating for each marks, different marks of question, something like that. But that in mock tests are basically aligned to this idea itself. Whatever analysis you could have done, like I mentioned earlier, the coaching help you give an analysis of things. So whatever analysis you can do by going through previous year questions, that analysis coaching industry used to do, and they prepare mock test. They claim that mock tests are near or aligned to UPSC examination, but it is highly impractical because most of their pattern of making questions and the way of making questions, their prediction about the paper are all hypothetical. They are based on trends that they have observed themselves. There's nothing given that the way they will prepare you will actually help clear the examination. But that's why I'm saying that mock tests are not essential, but going to previous year questions are essential because they will help you give you the right amount of practice, the right kind of practice which you actually need to appear to go through before appearing for the examination. Then the next point is that this exam tests your intelligence. Then again, it can be said to be a myth because obviously there is a intelligence, there is a component of wisdom, there is a component of presence of mind, but you cannot say that this exam is only for intelligent people or people with high IQs. Why? Because with intelligence you can have information, you can apply them. But suppose you are appearing for prelims examination, with this intelligence also you will not be able to complete all the answers. There will be questions where you have to take a guess. There you will be stuck between two options, and so in that case you can say you are taking an intelligent guess, but that guess part is also there. So this examination is not about intelligence, it is more about practice intelligence, you can say, or more about playing with your understanding. It's more about how you understand a particular thing. Then another myth you can say is not clearing prelims means you are a foolish. So this is another kind of claims that you might face. Suppose you don't clear prelims, there will be people who say, "अरे आपका prelims भी clear नहीं हुआ." So there will I have friends who have witnessed such situations. So here I want to just make a very humble comment, request to all such people who should not do things like that, because that actually affects the motivation of aspirants. But the idea of putting this point is to make you understand that clearing prelims, not clearing prelims doesn't mean you're foolish. Because if you take example of last year, this year 2022, as I mentioned, there are more than 5 lakh students who appeared for the examination, and close to 4 lakh 90,000 have not cleared the prelims examination. That doesn't simply mean they are foolish. It simply means that the exam has certain kind of requirement, that the prelim exam has certain kind of requirements, which you will obviously see in a detailed video later, has certain kind of requirements. Uh, those students were not up to the mark in that requirement, and that is obviously not the wisdom or the foolish. That from that you can simply not decide who are foolish. Like there is a very popular saying that you cannot judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, because it will die believing it is foolish. So, such kind of statement you can think of if you are stuck or if you are bombarded with such comments. Then another myth is that failing in UPSC exam means your life is over. It's nothing like that. So first, And foremost, related to this point, I want to make a request to every aspirants that don't make this exam bigger than your life. This exam is not your life. This exam is just a path that as an aspirant, as an individual who has certain goals in life, have decided to take this path because either you are like challenges or you feel that there are certain goals that can get fast tracked if you clear this examination. But this exam is in itself is not life. So just keep this philosophy very, very clear. Because failing in this exam, obviously there are lakhs of people who fail this exam, but that doesn't mean their life is over. So try to make a positive sense about this examination. Look forward to the exam. Appear for this exam with much positive energy. Don't think that oh, this is my life. I have to clear this exam too. Otherwise, I will not be able to do anything. It's nothing like that. There are n number of things that people are doing after failing in UPSC examination, and they are doing great. So it's nothing like that. The next point is one needs to give at least 3 years to his examination. So this point is not completely a myth, but this is not completely truth also. Why? Because there are people who have, like, if you have heard about Sarthak Ghosh, I think I am naming him correctly. He is a topper in 2020, I believe. So he got All India rank 17. If you ever see his video, so I believe that whatever he said is truth. So he was economics major student, and he was able to clear prelims within with 4 months of preparation, and then for mains also he studied whatever time you get between prelims and main, like 3 or 4 months, and he was able to clear the examination in a 1 year's time. So that you can see as the best case scenario one, but that can be seen as an exception also. That is not the given truth, because there are people who spend 5 to 6 years in the examination also. But you should not make such conclusions about how much time you require to clear the examination. But you should be clearly aware that about the time cycle, the timeline of the examination, because exam in itself takes 1 year to complete. Okay, and as I mentioned earlier in my video, that it takes almost 2 years to allocate you to allocate to a service. So you should be aware of the timeline of the examination, but you should not make a certain timeline that okay, I am starting in 2022, so I should keep a target that I will clear the examination by 2025. No, nothing like that. You should not give such commitments to you. Think your every attempt as your last attempt and give your best in that attempt. If you still have capacity, then give another attempt, but it is not necessary. Give your best in every attempt you give. Don't consider any attempt as your practice attempt. There are people who just prepare for 2 months, and when the form for examination come in February or March, something like that, they simply fill the form and they think that I will simply give as a trial attempt and get a feel of this examination, and then maybe next year will be my genuine attempt. So such things, you can think like that, but the idea is there's nothing wrong in thinking like that, but the idea is you to understand that every opportunity you are getting to write this examination should be utilized to the best in the time and circumstances you are in. You should not miss any opportunity to learn fast and make mistakes fast, because there will be lot of uncontrollable factors that judges your success in the examination. You might never know that you might clear the prelims in your trial attempt. There are people who have cleared prelims in just 2 months of random guessing, because there is obviously certain luck component in it, and whatever guesses they have made during the examination, they're correct. So you never know. So give your best in every attempt you give for the examination. Then the next point is that one need to give at least 3 attempts to the examination. It's related to last previous point. It's nothing like that. As I mentioned, give every attempt as your last attempt and your best attempt. There is nothing called you have to give 3 attempts. There are people who have cleared the examination in 1 attempt. There are people who have cleared the examination in 2 attempts. So it's nothing like that. One is to make daily notes of current affairs. So there is a very interesting story uh, of me behind writing this point. When I started preparation, in the first month, I used to make every day detailed notes of whatever news I am reading, whatever points I am getting in each news, and you will not believe I end up filling a full copy of 200 to 50 pages within 15-20 days. So that when my copy was getting over, that was the time that you can say the time of realization which helped me luckily at that point I was enlightened by the fact that if I by any chance do this for 12 months, then then I will simply have 12 copies for current affairs. Will I ever be able to retain so much information? And my mind said no. So that was the point I realized that making daily notes of current affairs is a, you can, when I don't want to use the word, but still it's a foolish job. Why? Because you might like it initially, but you yourself, if you start doing it for a month, you'll realize that you are not able to recall significant number of points, more than 90 to 95% of points which you have read last year, even after making notes. Because it's not humanly possible. If you just consider a newspaper, a daily newspaper, it might comprise of 14 to 15 to 16 pages or sometimes 18 pages. And if you decide to go to every article, each page might have 4 to 5 to 7 articles maybe. So if you get a rough calculation of it and consider 14 pages into 7, it's more than 100 news. It's highly impractical that you can retain 100 news items in your mind for 365 days and exactly use it in the examination. So just this explanation was just to give you idea at how impractical this approach is. So there are methods to go about to go about current affairs and newspapers that can effectively give you a better result, that we will discuss obviously in a later video. But just to put things straightforward here, I decided to put a myth in front of you. One needs to study two newspaper. Again, a related point. Nobody has ever claimed that this is a better idea, but there are people who used to say about this. So I thought of adding this point. Few people say I read both Hindu and Indian Express, and I believe they are important. Okay, it's good for them. Then it's not a problem. They are able to manage this thing. Then it's not a problem. But the idea is that you should stick to one newspaper at least, and the idea of reading newspaper is to just keep you updated in a chronological and regular way over a period of time, to prepare a mental framework that how the news is flowing day in and day out over the year cycle. So that idea is important. It's not that you should read every newspaper and learn by heart. Okay, I remember what came in 22nd March, fourth page there was an article on carbon dioxide, and that came in the prelims last year, so I should be aware of every fact. So that is illogical and that is not humanly possible, until and unless you are Swami Vivekananda and have a photographic memory. Obviously, that's an exception. So another myth is that one is to follow All India Radio, Summary, Press Information Bureau, Rajya Sabha TV, and different like Sansad TV nowadays they are called. And there's a big picture show that used to come, something like that everything to clear this examination. So again, it's a myth. Why? Because if you are following daily newspapers, most of the important news which were either covered in Press Information Bureau or All India Radio or Rajya Sabha TV will definitely appear in a newspaper. There is no need to again go through them individually and understand, okay, this is there, this is there. Yes, Press Information Bureau to an extent still seems to be logical, because Press Information Bureau is more about a government body that releases actions and activities or decisions of government. So you can keep a push notification kind of thing in Press Information Bureau. You can follow a Twitter page to suppose at one point of time in a day, like in the 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. or 6 a.m., anytime you would like, you can just go through the notification once to see, okay, any major transformative initiatives taken by government. Like during the COVID times, there were significant number of policy initiatives taken by government, some transformative reformative steps that were taken by the government. Then Press Information Bureau can give you a better detail from the government's point of view, because it's government's information, way of sharing information with the citizen. So it can be helpful, but it is not necessary to dedicatedly follow them on a regular basis, because it will do nothing much than increasing your burden. Because if you just imagine a week before the prelims examination or mains examination, you are sitting and you are thinking to revise everything you have done to consolidate it in a way that you are able to reproduce in the examination wherever required. Just imagine how you will be able to manage so much things. It is practically impossible. Again, there are exceptions like people who have photographic memory on a lighter note, but the idea is that the UPSC is not there to make you superhuman. It is there to conduct examination for a common individual, a normal man who is just aware about happenings around them. So happenings around them which are relevant to run the administration, that much awareness you need. You don't need to be some next level thinker in clearing this examination. So I hope I have addressed this part. So these were a few myths which I believe are important for the examination. Obviously, there are other myths related to examination which we can discuss over time, but this I felt was necessary upfront for you to understand before taking up this journey.